guys, welcome back. This is going to be part 5 of the Neo Geo. I wanted to correct something. Yesterday I said that this cabinet was a single slot, and I was wrong. It was a dual slot. It had 2 slots in it rather than 4. Because I was thinking in my head, I'm like, it couldn't have been a single, because then it wouldn't have had a select button on the control panel. And if you look at this control panel overlay, it has a select. So, I had to go back and look at my video, and I realized it was a 2 slot, not a 4. So we're converting from a 2 to a 4. So what I want to do first is mount this in the cabinet. I have the old metal plate here with the old nasty artwork, and I do have a new overlay here from Joe Zabo. Once again, I got all the artwork from him except for the sides, which is the original paint. So I don't know if I should peel off this old one or just put it over top. Let me see here. I don't know how well it's stuck. I guess we're going to peel off the old one. So we're going to get this old one peeled off, and then we can put the new one on. Might have to use some heat, but we'll work on that in a few minutes. First thing I want to do is make a mess, like I always do. So that'll be the first thing we do. Let me clean this up real quick. I knew I should have threw that away yesterday, but I didn't. All right, good enough. Let's stick this in the back with all the other garbage. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is, it looks like if I put these standoffs for the memory card and the jacks for your headphones, if I put these on here, it looks like it's going to work out to be the perfect height for it to line up with the metal on the cabinet. So let me grab a couple of these. So I'm going to put 4 of these on the board. So I'm going to put 4 of these onto here, and then I'll come back. Okay, I got my legs installed to this, onto this, and also I took a hair dryer and I heated up this old sticker and peeled it off. It actually came off really easy. Little tiny bit of sticky residue left on the metal, but it's smooth and there's no pieces of dirt stuck to it. So we're just going to leave that residue and stick this right over top of it. This will make it stick even better. Obviously, if you have a bunch of like dirt and stuff stuck in your old glue, you're going to want to clean that off. So what I'm going to do is kind of hold this up and see if I can't line it up. You probably won't be able to see this in the camera, but let me move over here a little bit. Maybe. All right. If you look here, you can see my hand on the back side. So if I just use the light that I have set up, and move this and position it to where it looks like it's dead on, this adhesive might actually work out in my favor to kind of hold it in place while I peel back the one side. What I'm really worried about is getting the memory card slot perfect first, and everything else should kind of fall into place. Should. We are real close. Okay, we are real good there. Tiny bit off right here, maybe. Tiny bit off. We just need to go up a hair on the one side. I think we are good there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of push this into the old adhesive a little bit, And then we're going to peel this back. Halfway. And because this is a metal plate, I can kind of drag my knife on it, as long as I don't put a groove into the metal. Okay, now I can just simply roll this back over. And I think it moved a little bit. So I think I'm gonna have to reposition it. Okay, just want to double check. Yep, we're good. You can use a spreader if you need to push this down, but this has that textured laminate on it, so usually if you just use your hand, you can get it to go down. So there we go. So now what I want to do is mount this to the cabinet first, and then we'll slide that in from the back side to make sure we're at the right height. So I got to grab some carriage bolts here. 5, looks like. And I'm guessing they are the longer ones. Okay. Okay, I gotta grab some nuts for that. And washers. Okay. See which size nuts these are. I believe they're these smaller ones. And there is some movement here up and down, so that will also help in mounting that back piece. So we're going to probably loosely mount this, slide that back piece in, and then we can tighten it down. So I want to get all the nuts and washers on it first though. I'm gonna have to look at some pictures online because I don't know which direction the 4 slot goes. Does it go right to left or front to back? So I'm gonna get these in, and then we'll come back. Before I tighten it down, we'll slide that circuit board up against it. Okay, I have all those started. So now, I don't know why these cables are as long as they are. Haven't figured that out yet, why that is, but whatever. So what I want to do is slide this in, see if we can get it into place here. am I hitting on? The front two legs are hitting. Okay. So the front two legs are hitting on the cabinet edge. So these two legs here are hitting on the edge of the cabinet. But I need them because I want to make this really secure, because if you slide a card in here, you don't want this thing moving all over the place on you. I need to take these cables off. Might make it a little bit easier. I'll remember that the second one has a 6 on it with an arrow going that way. So it goes 7, 6. So I have to figure out what's my easiest route here. It's about half the thickness of the leg needs to get removed. Well, I think I'm going to cut the wood and have it slide forward. I think that's going to be my best bet. Do I have a marker down here still? I had one yesterday, but I might not have it down here. I know I had one yesterday. Yep, right here. So I think I want to just use my saw and cut the wood out. It's not going to be a lot, just a little notch. Now I don't know how this was originally mounted. I don't have any of those parts, so I'm just not sure how they did that, but this won't be a big deal. It's not really going to affect anything. Just taking out about that much wood, about that long on each side, so that those legs can slide forward a little bit. So that's how much I took out. So hopefully that's enough. Might need to take a little bit more out. But I'm going to take this dust, just blow it into the bottom of the cabinet, and I'll vacuum it up afterwards. But yeah, I just took out those two little pieces. We'll see if that's enough or if I need to cut a little bit more. Actually, it's the exact perfect amount. I don't know that if it can come any closer. I think that's as far forward as it goes. Yep, perfect. Now we can screw that board in. Might need a little extension here. Might need to use that screwdriver again to get into the two front ones. I think I can get it with this. Perfect. And that is sturdy. That's going nowhere. So if you push a memory card in there, you don't have to worry about it moving that piece of, or that circuit board. Okay, now I can tighten up these 6 carriage bolts with my wrench here. And then I'm going to go grab the PCB, 4 slot, whatever you want to call it. so that we can get that mounted in here. I'm obviously not going to be able to see how the original was mounted. I can see some screw holes, but I'm just not sure how they had it mounted in here. Maybe by tomorrow we can have this thing working. Okay, just have one more down here, this center one. Stretch my sticker a little bit. I tighten these ones too much. That's not good. I'll loosen those up. Okay, good. It went back. It must have spun the bolt a little bit and it twisted the sticker. Am I using the right bolts? It's got to be. That's all I have. I don't like what this sticker did on this side. All right, that's better. Okay, so that is all mounted. So now I'm going to go grab the PCB and I'll come back. We'll lay that in there. Okay, here it is. I bought this as a working unit. I have not tested it. And I'm 99% positive it goes right to left. I'm just spinning these legs. These ones just sit. Can't put screws in those ones. So this should just sit like this. The old unit was obviously a smaller because it didn't have the, it was a 2-slot. So I'm just going to kind of center this in here. And these cables look like they come from this board into here. This one's labeled 6. What? 5, 6, 7. That doesn't make sense. Oh, those are the chips. Trying to see which cable goes on which one, but I'm not sure because they are not, look like they're labeled. Like this one says B1, A1, and on this side it says B30. This one says B1. Okay, so my guess is this is A and this is B. But how does that correspond with this? I'm not sure. So I get this straight in here, what looks good to me. And then we'll put some screws in here. 5 screws we need to hold that in place. I got these nice screws I've been using for those legs. They have a nice head on them, and they're not too big. They slip through those. Yeah, supposedly this 4 slot was repaired. I think I paid $200 and some for it, and it's supposed to be fully working, repaired. So fingers crossed it works. Because if it doesn't, I don't know how to fix it. We'll have to get it fixed by somebody. Okay, that is mounted nice and sturdy. Guess I can grab the JAMA harness and start working on putting that in. If I can get it untangled over here. All right, I'm gonna have to pause the video for a minute because I had left everything on it, the backs of the joysticks and everything. I left it all attached, so it was just quicker for me to reassemble and not worry about all that. But I have the isolation transformer and everything else still plugged into it, so, and the power supply. So I need to kind of clean out the bottom of this cabinet. I got some parts in there. I got the old marquee light, and there's the selectors for the game and all that stuff in there. So I want to clean all that out. Get this harness over here. We're going to have to put the power supply back together because I had taken it apart to clean it, and I'm glad I took it apart because it was filled with dirt. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that works. We'll have to test it before we plug the board in. Okay, I've got the cabinet spun around because I want to put the power supply in first and the isolation transformer, get those screwed into the bottom. Then we can start routing the harness up the cabinet. These kind of suck that these panels don't come out. Makes it kind of really hard to work in here in such a tight area. But this is the original power supply that I had taken apart. I washed the circuit board and everything, and it cleaned up really nicely. What was that noise? There's a nut in there. Don't even know where that came from. So we need to stick this back together. We have a fan here, which mounts to this piece. All right, this might take a couple minutes to figure out. We have this, try to figure out this, how this went on here. Looks like it went like that, which means that this fan, not sure which direction it goes. And you know I'll pick the wrong way. This label looks too clean for that side to have been up. Well, guess we'll take a chance and put it on this way. Because just like I said, that label just looks too clean to me for that to have been in the up position. But I could be wrong. So now I gotta find the bolts, which these bolts are a little rusty still. I didn't clean these ones, but I'm not gonna worry about it too much. Need to find the nuts and bolts so we can bolt the fan in. And if I start it up and the fan's blowing inwards, we'll have to change the fan. You could technically cut the 2 wires and reverse them, but I don't want to do that. I'll just spin the fan around. But like I said, this sticker shows no signs of wear on it or dirt or anything. So I highly doubt that sticker side was against here because I think it would have worn the sticker down over time. Even though it's a hair off the metal, I still think it would have messed it up over time. Did I throw the nuts in here with the other stuff? And also, I don't know if this fan had 2 bolts or 4, but I'm starting to wonder, are these what held it to the cabinet and not, these aren't for the fan? Yes, I believe these are what went into the cabinet. Okay, so let me go on a hunt here to find what I need. Oh, look at that. It came with these little 3D printed feet for that little circuit board I put up there, but I ended up using my own. So I'll just save those. But I'm thinking what happened here is these bolts are somewhere else, because I do not think I put them in with these. So let me go look next to all my other parts and see if I can't find them. Okay, I found them. So the fan uses these like wood screws is what's holding the fan in. And the best thing is I was right. This label goes to the inside, because if you look at the fan on this side, you can see that the plastic has threads in it from where those screws had gone in. So we are right there. So now I need to flip this over. And this has got some rust and stuff on it. I didn't really worry about it. I mean, I could clean it up, but I don't want to disturb the stickers and stuff. Hopefully this power supply works. If it doesn't, we're going to have to order a rebuild kit to fix it, because I believe they sell a rebuild kit for these. The fuse looks good. All the capacitors look okay. None of them look swollen. So hopefully we're in good shape. I mean, you never know with these games. You know, how long did this game run in an arcade? You know what I mean? Was it in there for 20 years? You know, 10 hours a day running? Don't know. Could it have maybe been somewhere where it was barely ever used? You know? The cabinet's in pretty good shape, so it's tough to say. So what I'm doing now is I'm sticking all my wires back into this plastic housing here, which slides into this metal like that. And then this top piece of metal goes over it. Just like that, and that locks that in. Now we can screw this shut. Then we can put it in the cabinet. Now the power cord for this one is like a computer power cord that plugs into the back of this box. Okay, one more screw, 2 more screws. Okay, these are the screws that go through the back of the cabinet. I have 1 screw left. Must go right here. I have to put this one out for no reason. Okay. So now we can get that and the isolation transformer. And you can see on the bottom here where the isolation transformer had gone. So we'll be able to put that right back where it goes. So this has got to get lined up. Put that next to me so it's out of the way. I need to find 4 of these screws, which I'm only seeing 2 of them. There might only have been 2 in this cabinet. Somebody might have had it out. Cleaning out the crushed walnut shell. Actually, no, there's not crushed walnut shells because I didn't clean these. There's some sort of like dirt in them. But I'm definitely only seeing 2 of these. I wonder if I have some more of these screws. Yeah, they only had 2 in there. Let me go look and see if I have some more of those. Oh wait, here's the 3rd one. I see 3 of them. Let me go look and see if I have any of these. These are a little on the long side, so I'm not sure if I'm going to have any that are this long. Yep, I have them in my box right here. I got the right length. So we'll just put all new ones in. Leave those rusty ones out. These are exact same length as the ones that were in here originally. And once this game is done, we'll have to make a lower back door. And to be honest with you, I'm probably just going to put screws in it. The upper one was just screwed in as well. There is a lock for the upper one, but I don't even know if it's worth putting a lock on these. I think I'll just put a couple screws in it. So now we're going to tighten these up. Beautiful. Now I have to mount this isolation transformer, which goes right here. You can see where the holes are in the wood, and you can see the impression that it had left from being there for so long. There's 4 of these silver screws here. This might be a little bit of a pain. Definitely don't like the setup of these back doors. Hey, I found a marker. Must have been the one I dropped in there. One more screw and the isolation transformer's in. Alright, I forgot to put these ground wires onto them. I think that's where they go. So I'll probably have to loosen up one of the screws and put these 2 ground wires on there. I'm guessing that's where those would ground to. Okay, Now that that's done, we can start fishing the wires up the cabinets. And we still have to plug in the power supply, which is this wire right here, in this mess of tangled wire. Luckily all the straps are on there. One fell off, but I'll put it back on. I hope that the wiring harness is long enough, because I'm switching from that 2 slot to this 4 slot. I hope I have enough length. So let's spin this cabinet back around. I have sliders underneath it. That's why it's moving so easily. Let me see if I can't get these wires up here and figure out if I can bring it through this way. It's definitely long enough for that. These, I believe, are for the things on the control panel, the digital displays. Got a ground wire here, a couple ground wires. Looks like this is our video wire, and the ground wire is yanked out of it, and it's stuck around a wire. Alright, so this ground wire, or this black wire, probably got yanked out of here, and I don't know where it goes. Well, we'll put it in there, and if it's wrong, we'll have to move it. Oh, you know what? It's white. Black and white stripe. So it probably goes there. That's why it fell out. It doesn't really want to stay in. Somebody messed it up. There we go. So this goes to the monitor. It's definitely a tangled mess. Here's our monitor power. Looks like this probably went to our marquee light at one point, but we don't have that anymore. I'm going to plug this in temporarily. I'll have to unplug it before I plug the game in, because I want to check voltages. This is for our monitor. Okay. So these are joysticks, buttons. This, I'm not sure what that is. Gotta find our speaker wires. Which kind of looks like it's these right here. Yes, these are speaker wires. So, there we go. Okay, these are going to go this way. I'll throw them out the back door for now, so that they're out of the way. So all we're left with now is our controls, player 1 and player 2. You know what? It's weird is these, what are these? There's 2 sets of them. Do those little circuit boards take 2 sets of those? No, they only take 1 set. These are them right here. So I don't know what the second set's for yet. Why would there be 2 sets of those plugs? Unless this is a universal harness for something, or you know what? One side plugs in here, one side plugs in to here, up here. So these ones need to plug in somewhere. So where is that? On the side of the PCB? I see plugs on this side, so that is my guess, as they go over here to this side. I'll have to look it up. I'm going to go start looking some of this stuff up. I don't want to plug stuff in backwards. Okay, what I figured out was these ones obviously go to the control panel because they are in with all these. So this is going to be, I have to figure out which one is 1 and 2. So this should be 1 right here. So I need to kind of trace this back and figure out which one is number 1 on that side, which is going to be a pain in the butt. I might just have to plug them in, and then I'm going to take a guess because this one's longer than this one. I'm going to say this is player 1, this is player 2. They plug in the side here. There are 3 sets of plugs. They go in player 1, player 2, and I don't know what the third one is because it didn't show anything going into it. So I'm going to reach around here and see if I can't see where this plugs in at. Okay, that one's plugged in. Okay, those 2 are plugged in. Now we got to hook up these ribbon cables. So I'm going to have to look that up again. But once we get these ribbon cables plugged in, probably don't even need to plug them in. We could probably get the monitor in here and just see if the game turns on, check voltages, and then just see if the game turns on, because I don't think those ribbon cables really mean much right now other than they go from the main PCB to this board here, which goes to the memory slot and to the headphone jacks. And I think this is something to do with the light board. Neo Geo card reader, Lee Smith, 2019. And then after that it says Neo Geo LED marquee information. I do have paperwork here from this kit, so I'm trying to see, oh, you know what? Maybe it plugs in right there. Plugs into that third port. That's what the picture looks like. So maybe that's what it is. So maybe it doesn't plug into here, but there is a 4-prong plug coming out of here, and I don't know what that's for yet. But this is the wiring harness for that goes from that LED driver board down to the PCB. So this must go into that last connection from what the picture shows. I'm looking at it right now to make sure it has the same amount of pins. Very hard to see this. So close to the edge. Well, it plugged in. It's the right amount of pins. So we can just take it up to here. We'll let it dangle for now. Okay, that's plugged in. So I think what I want to do is put the chassis on this monitor, slide the monitor in here, and see if we can't get it to power on. Put a gain cartridge in here and see if it'll work. I don't know. I don't know when these cabinets start up, if they start on one certain cartridge or not, or does it start on the cartridge that was last used? I don't know how that works. So I don't know if every time you power the game on, does it start on cartridge number 1 and then you have to flip to 2, 3, or 4? Or does it, you know, if you were playing on cartridge 4 and you turn it back on the next day, does it automatically start on cartridge 4? I'm not sure. Let me move some stuff around and we're going to put this chassis on the monitor. Okay, this monitor was rebuilt. This chassis was rebuilt a couple years ago. So, actually my buddy did it for me on 3 of 2020. So I've had this sitting around for 3 years. This is a nice monitor. I'm trying to remember why we rebuilt this one. I don't remember what was wrong with it. It's been so long. Just gotta find the back here. Fly back is this way. We have our yoke wires here. Plug this into the chassis first. As soon as I find the plug on here. Where are you at? There they are. Can only go in one direction because one of the 4 pins, the red pin, is farther out than the other 3. So we'll slide that in. We have a degauss wire, which looks like it was cut. Oh wait, no, these are the degauss wires. This is a ground wire which was cut. We'll have to put that back together. I have to find some screws because I've since lost the screws since this has been taken apart. I don't know where they went. So here's our degaussing. Got to find the plug for that, which should be on this right here in the center. This monitor chassis is a, see if I can find a number here. That's worn off. 7191. So I think this is a K7100 maybe? 7000 maybe? I don't know. It's been too long. I'm not worried about this having any power. I know that you're supposed to I don't even know what I'm saying. You're supposed to get rid of the power to the tube. All right. That over here. Just want to make sure stuff's not tangled up. Here's the other end, looks like, to this ground wire. That plugs into the neck board. So we get our neck board on. We have our coil, or our degaussing coil plugged in. We have our yoke wires plugged in. We have our neck board installed. We got to get a couple screws to hold that in. We might have a problem with the monitor plug. I don't know if we need 2 separate plugs or what, but it is currently just one plug, which will fit onto here. I'm not sure if that's going to work or not with this setup. So let me get a crimp cap, and we'll just crimp that together. Ouch. Discharge the monitor. That's it. I knew I'd come up with the word eventually. You're usually supposed to discharge the monitor tube when it's been sitting for a long time, because they say some energy could come back, but I've never really had that happen to me. All right, we're gonna crimp on one of these caps here. I gotta strip the one wire. Got a couple screws here to screw this board back down. Yeah, this tube has been open for 3 years. So, like I said, I wasn't too worried about it. Probably should have washed the tube. It's a little dirty. Maybe I'll wipe it off with some window cleaner before I power this up for the first time. Because once I power it up, I don't really want to wipe it down unless I discharge the monitor. And then you do run the risk of still having power in there even after you discharge it, and spraying water or window cleaner and stuff around it's probably not smart. So I'm just going to grab some paper towels, spray a little window cleaner on here, and wipe it down just to clean, because it's pretty nasty. I don't want to put it in the cabinet dirty like that. I always clean my monitors. I should have taken this outside and washed it, but I honestly just didn't think about it. So now we got a couple screws here to hold this PCB to the bolt, to the frame. Okay, I'm going to double check to make sure I have everything plugged in. I don't do a lot of 25-inch monitors. Usually everything I do are 19s. I don't have very many games with 25-inch monitors. Now this has a new flyback and everything on it, so it's going to be way out of focus and everything else. So we have our ground wire hooked up to the neck board. The other ground wire coming off the neck boards grounded to the chassis of the monitor. We have our yoke wires plugged in. We have our degaussing wire plugged in. We have our anode cup plugged in. So we should be good to go. So I'm going to go grab some window cleaner. We're going to wipe this down real quick, and then we can put it in there and get it plugged in. We'll unplug the PCB and check for 12 volts and 5 volts, and then we'll be able to hopefully put a game cartridge in there and see if it works. Now on the game cartridges, the Nightmare in the Dark, that is not an original Nightmares in the Dark game cartridge. It's been hacked or whatever. Same thing with Windjammers. Those two are definitely not real. I bought them knowing that they were not real. I didn't pay a ton of money for them. Bust a Move should be original, and so should Metal Slug 3. So those two should be original ones. The other ones are bootlegs, I guess you would call them. But supposedly the bootlegs, they say, play just as good as the original. Once again, I don't know. I haven't tried them. And I've only played Windjammers a handful of times. And when I played it was on a multi-cade cabinet. So that probably plays nothing like. So if I like the way it played on the multi-cade cabinet, it's probably going to play just fine on this cartridge. So let me go grab some window cleaner. Just spray this down and wipe it down with some paper towels. All right, so use my Safeway window cleaner. This is pretty much the only window cleaner I like to use. Now, I'm going to wipe it off, and it still might be a little bit wet, but by the time I get it in the cabinet and stuff, it'll be dry. This stuff dries pretty quickly. Look at that. So, definitely a good thing that I'm wiping this down. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be like when I use Simple Green in the garden hose, but it's going to be better than what it was. Because this is nasty. That's the downfall of these monitors, is they just collect, they form static electricity, so all the dust and dirt just flocks to this when it's running, you know. I remember as a kid how my parents would wash the screen on the TV all the time because it would just be dirty. Plus we were kids and we would touch the screen and stuff, so that didn't help matters out either. But yeah, you'd always have to wash the screen. Seems like TVs nowadays don't do that as much. I bet you we haven't wiped our screen off upstairs in a couple months. And I don't think it's dirty. But I just want to get the majority of it off, just so it doesn't look horrible. Plus, touching it to get it all over me. Now, I might just set this monitor in there and not bolt it in at first, just to make sure it's going to be all right. This cabinet originally came with a Polo monitor. I still have the monitor. Don't really care for those monitors. I think it needed to be rebuilt. I just yanked it out because I knew that this was a nicer monitor. Look at that, just from that little bit of wiping. So now we're gonna bench this up into there and see if it'll just kind of sit in place. I'm not sure if it will or not. This is my remote board. Just stick this on the top for now, hopefully. Actually, no, I'm gonna take this remote board. I'm throwing it in on top of the circuit board in there, just to kind of keep it from getting tangled up on something. You know what I think I remember on this cabinet when I took it apart? I think this monitor was just screwed in with like regular screws and washers. Because I'm looking at these holes. Oh, look at that. I got my remote board stuck. Just what I didn't want to do. I went ahead and did it. That's what I was trying to avoid doing. How did I even do that? I want to mount this remote board somewhere by the PCB so that I can adjust the monitor if ever need to. Boy, that's going to go back far still. Jeez. Gotta shove it to the right. Well, that should sit there for now. I think I'm all right with that for now. Doesn't look like it's going to go anywhere, but you can tell that there is a chip in the glass. Oh, well, a little chip in the glass right there for something. But this gets a black, a real tinted piece of glass that goes over it. But there's really no screen burn. Very, very, very tiny bit. So now what I'm going to do is I want to get this monitor plugged in, and then we can plug this cabinet in. I'll unplug this JAMA harness so we can check voltages. So I'm going to turn the camera off. I'm going to plug in the power and the video wire onto the monitor. Don't know if that video wire is going to work. We might have to cut it and put a different video wire on there, or a different connector. Okay, I got my multimeter, and I got a wire to plug in. So let's get this plugged in. Not hearing anything yet. Looking for this. Is there a power switch? I don't see one. I'm not getting any power. Getting no power. I don't think these cabinets have power switches. The fan is not spinning on and the monitor is not lighting up or making any noise. So as of right now, we're getting nothing out of the power supply. So let me go look in the back and see what I can figure out. Okay, I took this power supply apart and I checked the fuse and everything, and it's good. That power supply is 100% dead. I do have this power supply from a different game. However, the plugs have been cut off of it. And this one's been spliced. But I can put this all back together to where that this will plug in to here. And then I can put a plug end on here and plug this into there. So I can do a direct replacement with this one. And I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave this in the cabinet for now. I can always come back to this in the future and rebuild this. But for now, if I put plug ends on here, I can hook it into the cabinet and we can see if it works, because that power supply is going to be a direct plug-in. I'm going to cut 0 wires in the cabinet itself. So I'm going to go ahead and put a connector on the end of this. I'm going to do it off camera. You guys have seen me put Molex connectors on a bunch of times. So I'm going to go ahead and put one on. I'm going to cap off all the wires that I don't use so that no wires touch each other. And then I'll come back. We will get it plugged in. We will power it up and we'll see what we get. Okay. So what I had to do here is I did not have one of these Molex plugs. So I found one in my parts bin, same thickness wire and everything. So I just capped them together. Then the extra wires that were left over, I put caps on them. Anything that had power coming out, I put caps on. The ground wires, I left them alone. This I was able to, not that one. This one right here, I cut the other 2 wires and I repinned them. So everything will plug back in just like the other one did. Into these plugs here. We have a plug there. Oh, it's down here. I'm sorry. So we have this plug we can plug in. And then this plug right here needs plugged in. This little one right here. So I'm going to go ahead and get those 2 plugged in. Just set the power supply in there for now. And then I'm going to plug in the speakers. And then we are going to power this up together and see what happens. We still have to check voltages on the PCB. Okay. The PCB or the power supply is plugged in. I still have the JAMA harness disconnected. This power supply does have a power switch. I might leave this one in. I'm not sure, because I do like the fact that it has a power switch in case I need to power it down. This old one didn't have one. There's nowhere on the cabinet that has one. So anyways, I'm going to turn it on and then we're going to check voltages and see what happens. Okay, I hear the monitor. I heard static in the monitor. We're going to set this to DC. I see some brightness on the screen. The brightness is probably going to be bright because the flyback is new. So it has not been adjusted. I hear the fan running on the power supply. So now our first 2 prongs are negative. Our reds are 5 volt. 5.2. I'm happy with that. Then our yellow should be 12 volts. We're actually low on 12 volts. Saying 10.6. But that's okay. We'll try it and see what happens. I don't know if that power supply will increase when stuff is plugged in or not on the 12 volts. So the 5 volts is perfectly at 5.2. So I don't want to mess with the 12 volts right now because I know that the 5 volts is where it needs to be. If I start cranking the 5 volts up, it should bring the 12 volts up, but it's going to make the 5 volts even higher. So, powered it down. Let's plug in this. I did plug the speakers in. I have to go grab a cartridge real quick. Okay, I just grabbed the first cartridge, which is bust a move. Turn this light off here. We're going to put it in slot 1 just to test it. Now the arrows look like they're pointing backwards. Is that right? So the arrows are pointing that way, so I guess so. I guess that means the arrow goes on the arrow side, which makes the label backwards. Where's that? That's in there. Let's turn it on. Fingers crossed. Well, we have all 4 of the marquee lights are flashing. What they did was they went through and then they came back. Now chances are that monitor wiring is going to be wrong. or my adjustments are way off because it's new. Let's see if this thing has V positive, H positive, vertical hold, vertical sides, contrast. I'm going to say that those wires are not right on that plug. So I'm probably going to have to find the right monitor plug that plugs into this. That's contrast. This is black level. I'm going to have to probably find the right plugs for that monitor and repin it, because clearly this isn't right. So let me turn this off for a minute. First thing I want to try though before I do that is that black wire I slid into there. I'm going to take it out and put it on the very last slot and see if that makes a difference first. Okay, I switched the wire over to the last prong and it came onto this screen. Now, I don't know what the screen means. You know, is this in test mode? I don't know. I don't have everything plugged in yet, but I want to start. First thing I want to do is try to, do you see how this top of the screen is scrolling over like that? What that is there's two vertical holds, or vertical wires. I think they're vertical sync or something like that on the monitor. So what's happening is you have two wires. You can use either one or the other, or you have to jump them. So you need to jump both pins to one. By jumping both pins to one, that's going to straighten out the top of the screen. It's going to do that until I do that. So just for now, I just want to see if I can just get something on this screen. I'm not worried about that because I know what that is, and I'll show you about it afterwards. But I just would like to get something on the screen other than this grid pattern. But we'll leave it like that for now. It's not perfect, but I don't know why it's doing that. I don't know which of these buttons would be select or anything. Just kind of pushing them all just to see if anything happens. Oh, okay. Let me grab a joystick handle and shove it in here. I mean, we're getting something, guys. Like I said, I don't know where any of these wires go yet. Okay, so now sound off. This joystick's doing nothing. Is it? No, not in all the way. And I don't have my actuator. So you know what? I'm going to pull this handle out. I'm just going to push on it with my hand. This is joystick number 1, I believe. Doesn't do anything. So now, do I need to push like a, just pushing buttons here? Maybe this is joystick 2. Maybe this is joystick 1. There we go. So why is the sound off? So how do I turn the sound on? Sound off. What button do I push to turn the sound on? Or do I have to turn, push the joystick a certain direction to get it to turn on? That's down. This is up. Okay, nothing's happening. So somehow we're stuck in test mode. Oh, you know what? My volume's down all the way. There's a volume knob there. But we are currently stuck in test mode. Is it because this other board's not plugged in? I don't know. Let me go get the coin door. because there are some buttons on here. So let me plug this in, see if that does anything. I'm going to find the plug for it. Which I'm not sure where that plug's at. Let me go in the back here and look. Let me pause this for a minute, see if I can find out where to plug that in at. It's not going to do me any good plugging this in right now. I've got a completely burned up wire that goes to the other side of this fuse panel, completely burned out. But there's yellow wires that plug in here. Maybe this is the on, yep, this is the AC power on and off. It's in here. So that means this harness right here goes back to the power supply, plugs into the power supply, it brings power into here, this turns it on and off, and then it's melted this fuse for some reason. So maybe when that old power supply went bad or whatever happened, it melted this fuse holder and everything else. So I need to replace all that. And these two buttons here for test switch and main fuse are not even hooked up to anything. There's not even one wire going to them. So I do see some wiring here. I don't know what these plugs go to. I'm going to have to do some real good looking on the schematic because I don't think I can get out of this test mode without that plugged in, but I'm not positive. I'm going to try one more thing. We're going to scroll through the menu again if I can figure out which one it was. So now at least I know that player 1 looks to be possibly on the right side. What's it say here? Player left, player right. So it's just kind of, I'm guessing this is the right side. Trying to find that button I used that went through the listing here. Okay, insert memory card. I'm not worried about that right now. Backup clear. Okay, press A, B, C button at one time. Backup clear. Okay, I don't care about that right now. Time set. I'm not worried about that right now. Wow, it actually set itself. 7:23 or 7:3 of 23. Interesting. Huh. Okay. Now it doesn't do anything else after this point. Oh, there it goes. So it goes back to grid pattern. I/O check. This shows us which buttons work and what don't. I'm not worried about that right now. Right now the marquee lights are just kind of cycling through. The brightness looks pretty good on this. I don't think I'm going to have to mess with that. But I don't know that I'm really going to be able to do much more. Let me try that one that says clear. A, B, C. So we need to hit 3 buttons at once, which I think are these 3. Maybe not. These 3. Shooting in the dark here. No clue. I'm going to say it's probably these 3. Yeah, I got nothing. Definitely stuck in test mode. The thing is with the test switch is it's just, why is there no wires going to it? Were they not using it before when it was a 2 slot? I can try turning it off and back on. Yeah, I think this is all it's going to do. I hope I don't have that cartridge in backwards. All right, let me look around for a couple minutes. Okay, so I read through the manual, some of it, and I think the dip switch, the hard dip switch on the side here is in the test mode. So I need to probably unscrew this and move it over so I can see in there which one is, I think it's the first one on the dip switches. Actually, I don't know if I can see them or not. I think I'm going to have to... Yeah, I'm going to have to unscrew this and move it out. So let me, I'm going to get it unscrewed, slide it over, and then I'll come back. Okay, I got it loosened up. Now, I don't know if I can turn the dip switch with it on or not. So I might have to turn it off, but I'm trying to find, here's the dip switches over here. Okay, I believe dip switch number 1 is the one I need to change. So it looks like they're all up, which is off, I believe. So I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to flip dip switch number 1 and we'll see what happens. And then I'm also going to need to put it on free play. And I'll have to re-look up what that is because I don't remember. Okay, I turned on. Oh, it's still stuck. All right, I'm going to look at the instructions again and see what it says. Maybe I didn't do it right. All right, I got it figured out. I'm an idiot, and I put the board all back together, and I don't have the cover on the board yet. So I was trying to put that first card in, and I was looking at the arrow for the second card. So I was putting the card in backwards. So I had the cover off and I realized, I was like, the arrows go this way. So the writing goes towards you. I kept thinking, thought it was stupid that the label would be facing backwards, but I don't know. I've never had one of these before. Apparently, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I did figure it out. Luckily, it didn't damage anything. So now I think I put it on free play because it says push player 1 or player 2 start. I have 2 cartridges in here currently. So I think if I hit the select, I can go to the next cartridge. So I want to try that and see if the next one works. But I'm not sure how to do that either. So what I did was I'll have to mess with that. But while I was stuck in the dip switch settings and test mode, I took painter's tape and I checked all my buttons and I labeled them all. So now I know what's A, B, C, D, start, select, all that stuff. So we are good there. So now I just need to put everything back together. Obviously the monitor is all funky right now. I don't care about that. Not a big deal. I know what's wrong with it. Nothing has been adjusted on this monitor since it's been rebuilt yet. So it's not a big deal. Let me hit the start button again. Just want to see if it goes into... oh, wrong button. I don't know what buttons to push. It's kind of hard when you don't have the control panel hooked up. Oh, what's this one? Okay, let's see what happens. Just want to make sure the game starts. It should start on its own. But this is a long video. This is probably an hour and 20 minutes or so. But look where we're at. We have it working. So I'm very happy about that. So, all right, guys, that's going to end part 5 of the Neo Geo. I still have to figure out how to switch from cartridge to cartridge. That could just be something unplugged or something like that. So I'm not going to stress out about that. Off camera, I'm going to put the metal back on the circuit board and get it screwed back down. But first I'm going to go through all the dip switch settings and everything to make sure that everything's set right. So other than that, guys, if you're liking what you're seeing, please like and subscribe. Any questions or comments, feel free to ask or send them. If you want to laugh at me, that's cool too. I get it. I'm an idiot. But you know what? The way that was mounted in there, I never even saw that first arrow. Oh well, sometimes you screw up. at least I know now that if I put them in backwards, I'm not going to screw something up. So, all right, guys, please, if you like what you're seeing, please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys later.